Please remain standing. Good afternoon. Before we begin today's ceremony, would you please remain standing as I call forth Senior Heather O'Leary, who will lead us in singing our national anthem. Heather. Good afternoon and welcome. I want to welcome parents, grandparents, relatives, friends, alumni, special guests, trustees, faculty, and staff to PDS's commencement. It is my great honor and privilege to present to you the class of 2002. Commencement is a wonderful occasion, a culminating ceremony, particularly at PDS, of an educational experience which goes back to earlier years, even to junior kindergarten. It is a time to reflect simultaneously on the memories of where you have been and looking forward to anticipating the stories you will create in the future. However, before we get to the stories of yesterday and tomorrow, we need to focus on the present. And now, we have an extraordinary opportunity to hear from one of PDS's own special alumnus, and here to introduce him is Senior Class President, Krishnan Vasudevan.
In choosing a graduation speaker for the class of 2002, we wanted to find someone who reflects the qualities of the class as a whole. It had to be someone who excelled in the classroom. It had to be someone who had a great affinity for the arts. And it had to be someone who loved to express their talents on the stage, in the gallery, and on the playing field. We wanted a superhuman speaker who gave himself generously and compassionately in the causes he believes in. No one we knew met these qualifications better than Christopher Reeve. And we are honored to have him speak to us today. Preparing for my speech, I found a quote by Mr. Reeves as I was searching the web. It goes something like this: So many of our dreams at first seem impossible, then they seem improbable, and then, when we summon the will, they soon become inevitable. Mr. Reeve has made all of his dreams inevitable, from his days at PDS, where he starred in the first musical, onto his college career at Cornell University and the Juilliard School, and now as a world-renowned actor and director. Without further ado, please join me in welcoming back to Princeton Day School, Christopher Reeve.
So much. It is a privilege and honor to be back here today. First, I want to thank you for that wonderful introduction. And Heather O'Leary, you can now skip college and go directly to the Metropolitan Opera. What a fabulous voice. Amazing. Although she set that key higher than any of us could deal with. That was a big reach for the crowd. What a voice. What talent here. And I've just come from the McInerney Theater, where students past and present have performed a medley of some of the greatest musicals that have gone on here. And when I just see the culmination of all the talent and how the school has evolved since I was here, it really is a dream come true. I've also been to a lot of conventions here. I had two younger brothers graduate, and a lot of times the thing that you keep hearing is, remember, it's not a graduation, it's a commencement, and the commencement means a beginning. So I promised myself I wouldn't come out and say that. So what I want to talk about is not that it's a beginning, you know that. It's about how you begin. It's about the quality of the beginning. And I just want to say a few words about an example. It happens to come from our own family, but it could be any student, but I want to use him as an example. And that's my half-brother, Kevin Johnson, who graduated in class of 1981, and then he went on to Yale, graduated class of 85, majored in English, played lacrosse, and right after college he got a job teaching at a distinguished prep school in Washington at St. Albans. He was teaching English and going down a very nice road, and suddenly realized it was the wrong road for him. It wasn't what he really wanted to do. And he made a radical change of direction, and something far less secure, and yet something that let him define the truth within himself, what he wanted to do with his life. And he joined the Peace Corps. And he went to Togo, which I had to look very hard on the map to find, but it's in the bottom part of the bulge of Africa in the west. And he was there for a couple of years, and he learned the native language, he built schools, villages, and I think he had a duffel bag to his name, that's about it. And after that, he went to Nigeria, he was in Indonesia. Later on, he went to work for the National Democratic Institute, going around the world helping to monitor elections in emerging third world democracies. He was in Jerusalem when they had the last election, and he's put his life literally on the line time and time again He was there in Nigeria when they had their first democratic election, simply because he wanted to be there to see something happen that he believed in, that far less privileged people than himself or our family or the community he grew up in, to see that those people had an opportunity to make a beginning, the same as he had grown up learning to take for granted. And I simply stand in awe of his selflessness, his courage. For years, he still had that same duffel bag. And finally, after the Peace Corps, after the NDI, by this time, he was well into his 30s and decided that the next thing to do would be go to business school, not so that he could end up working on Wall Street or working for a bank someplace and making money, but so that he could become involved in a very small company outside of Boston that helps the economies of emerging third world countries. And he continues to travel the world, back to Nigeria, back to Indonesia, helping with infrastructure, helping to get the finances of these countries in order so that they can build a democratic future for themselves, because without an economy on which to base democracy, it won't work, because there will be too many insurrections, too much civil war. And in order to stabilize a democracy, he realized there had to be not only an educational base, but an economic base. And he did all of that, before his 40th birthday. And at this point, now he's back in the States, and working with this company. And, he met a lot of people along the way. However, the woman that he met not long ago and married this April, I believe she's an absolutely superb human being, and he earned her by the work that he'd done. So the point I'm making is that you can actually have it all if you start by being willing to give it all away. And he has personal satisfaction. He is very, very happily married to a wonderful girl. He has all our esteem and respect. And he doesn't have a lot, but he has a little more than a duffel bag now. And he can look at himself, no matter what comes his way in the future, he's going to handle it with the same integrity, with the same selflessness that he developed by choosing his own path. And a lot of times people say, choose your own path, go your own way. Well, that's not permission to go out and be selfish. That's not permission to take. To go your own way really means to find what is true inside yourself, that also is generous. And to borrow from the old maxim for sailors for centuries has always been one hand for the boat and one hand for yourself. So that whatever we do in life, there's one hand reaching out. At least one hand is reaching out as far as it can go for others. And in so doing, by reaching out, more comes back than we can possibly imagine. And this school has set you up with all the skills that you're going to need. The personal skills, the self-confidence, the physical attributes, the intellectual development. And by the way, congratulations, out of this class of 90 to have 33 National Merit Scholars is phenomenal. Congratulations to all of you. Go down the hallways and to see the quality of the art that is on the walls, and to see what's going on in the photography workshops and what's being developed in the theater department and the music department. What I'm saying is, you've been given the tools. Wherever you go next, you're going to develop further. But just don't go on autopilot, okay? Just don't do what everybody else expects. Don't do what's easy. Please use your talents to reach out. We need you. We need you really badly to change the course of this country and the world, to make sure that this country remains a generous country, a compassionate country, a selfless country, and that we honor our responsibilities to the rest of the world. I'm in constant fear of developing isolationism that I sense in this country and all of you as you go through college and as you go into the world. You'll be the remedy for that, because you'll turn it around and make sure that we are not only the leaders, but the givers that we are meant to be. Congratulations on your day, and I do have to say it is this time of beginning. Just be careful how you begin, because it counts. Thanks so much.
We will now hear selections from madrigals. Madrigals?
Ezekiel saw the wheel way up in the middle of the air.
Ezekiel saw the wheel way in the middle of the air.
The big wheel run by faith, and the little wheel run by the grace of God. Just a wheel in a wheel way in the middle of the air. Some go to church to sing and shout
Way in the middle of the air.
Before 6 months they all turned out.
Way in the middle of the air. Ezekiel saw the wheel.
Ezekiel saw the wheel, he saw it way up in the middle of the
He
air.
saw the wheel
He saw it
way in the middle of the air. The big wheel run by faith, and the little wheel run by the grace of God. Just a
wheel in a wheel
way in the middle of the air.
If faith was a thing that money could buy,
Way in the middle of the air.
the rich would live and the poor would die.
Way in the middle of the air. Ezekiel saw the wheel
final tradition at PDS is that the seniors elect a member of their class, or two, to give an address at commencement. And in keeping with the spirit of representation and sense of unity, this year's senior class has chosen two, Brett Harrelson and Tom Bonnet. First Brett, and then Tom.
Thank you. When I first came to PDS in 6th grade, I didn't come here because of the school's excellent academic programs. I didn't come here for the school orchestra. I didn't even come here for the cuisine. I came to PDS, frankly, because I was afraid of the kids at the John Witherspoon Middle School. And having been here for some 7 years now, I can say that I probably made the right decision. But in middle school, you're too young to appreciate something so rare as excellent character and intellect. Now, as we stand at the threshold of college, I can finally see how privileged I was to become a part of this grade. So, when I sat down to write this speech a few hours ago, I needed to think of something that would adequately sum up our grade. Needless to say, I failed, so I'll simply talk about something else. College. Everyone here is about to embark on a great journey. In 4 years, most of these young people will be doing this yet again. Believe me, those years will go fast, and before you know it, we'll all be sitting at home with arthritis pain, an artificial hip, and a really bad gas problem. It happens to the best of us. It's at moments like those when you start to look back to your college years and wonder where the time went. We are in the fortunate position to be looking forward on those years. Our lives are just beginning, and we have everything in the world to look forward to. I think this ceremony is important, not just so we can get our diplomas, but because it gives us a chance to stop and reflect on our lives. This is an opportunity to see just how fast time's river can flow, and to make a concerted effort to appreciate what we have and enjoy our youth while it lasts. It is important to keep your eye on the future, but it's impossible to forget about the past. In these past few years, Princeton Day School has become our lives. Some of us have spent more time here than at home. Many of us have been going here since kindergarten. Others are relatively new to PDS. But no matter how much time was spent here, there's no doubt that PDS has meant something to all of us. Personally, when I think of PDS, I'll always remember cabaret night freshman year, when all the seniors made us dress up like women. And who could forget that sophomore research paper that I handed in last year? Sorry about that. But I think for the class of 2002, PDS is synonymous with George Sanderson. I don't think I can name one member of the graduating class who hasn't been reprimanded personally by Mr. George Sanderson. Mr. Sanderson, you can write all the detentions you want now, but in about a half an hour, we're all going to be PDS alumni, and you're going to be hitting us up for money. But most of all, when I think of PDS, I'll remember the people who made this experience so unique. The people who brought Halloween Challenge to the next level. The people whose ingenious senior prank will go down in history. Oh, sorry, wrong grade. Oh, that happens. But I'll also remember the simple things, like sitting in the theater lobby, chatting away about this college and that college, while chipping away at a 10-pound block of dry ice so we could put the pieces in the urinals. These are the men and women of tomorrow. From Halloween challenge to dry ice, when I look back on these years, it will always be with a smile on my face. So it's almost time to say goodbye. These past few years, so much has changed. We aren't living in the same world as we were 4 years ago. Who would have thought 4 years ago that now flip-flops would be fashionable? That Michael Jackson would try to make a comeback? And that Oprah Winfrey would lose so much weight and then gain it back? So here we are now, about to go out into that crazy world. I have the honor to speak frankly with you and share my final words of wisdom with you all before you graduate. My only advice is, don't eat Mexican food. Excedrin is better than Tylenol. And it's probably not the best idea to make friends on the internet. Having said all of that, I would like to wish the class of 2002 the best of luck in college and in life. You guys are the best. Thank you.
Johanna Ann Dixon. Carolyn Marie DeRazio. Ryan Gabriel Dreyer. Stephanie Marie Durson. Sarah Horn Elmale. Margaret Robinson Fennell. Sarah Valentine Fort. Michael Andrew Fragoso. Andrew Graham Friedman. Alana Vilko Goldfarb. Laura Catherine Gosnell. Robert C. Granite. Nathaniel Russell Halpern. Brett Joseph Haraldson. Peter Jensen Harrington. Craig Martin Jackson in absentia. Jeremiah Martin Johnson. Evan Michael Joy. Stacy Blaine Califer. Michael Dove Kassler-Taub. Morgan Brittany Kelly. Christina Elizabeth Kurta. Kevin Patrick Lamont. Erica Lynn Lonnie. Peter Deung Lim. Kabir Malhotra. Sarah Blake Maloney. Amelia Field Mexstraw. Gregory Glenn Myers. Daniel Michael Micketon. Heather Ann O'Leary. David Avi Ostro. Christopher John Palshow. James Edward Patrick Jr. John Fitzgerald Pattison. Ari Hall. Alexander J. Perlin. Amy Pamela Perlman. Gina Marie Piscopo. Brooke G. Stella Popko. Michael Jeremy Rosen. Jonathan Rothberg. Savona Jones Rouse. Dimitri Carl Russell. Jessica Jane Saltz. Jonathan David Sarmiento. Margaret Lee Sion. Scott Thomas Shaw. Jessica Lee Schilke. Grant Joseph Schmucker. Elif Shen. Michael Benjamin Sieglin. Nathaniel Patrick Smith. Caitlin Alexis Snyder. Patrick James Southern. Ilona Margaret Spiro. Ariana Rodina Calderon Stammer. Alexander Zachary Stanko. Shanique Susan Street. Alexander Henry Sussman. Andrea Jean Swanee. Jessica Ann Tamayo. Rebecca Marie Ornum Valencia. Krishnan Vasudevan. Alexandra Trenholm Warren. Jacob Harrison Whitliff. Julie Ann Wilson.
Wow, that was beautiful. Congratulations, graduates. It is an honor to address you today. Although much of what you have learned is documented in transcripts and course syllabi, other learning resides in your minds and your hearts and is reflected in the relationships you have formed, the decisions you make, the maturity you exhibit. Less evident is what your parents have learned during your years at PDS. I would like to share that with you. Your parents have learned that it is school policy to stop giving homework to seniors after January 30th. They have learned that no one at PDS but you has a curfew. They have learned that it is possible to complete a college application within the final 42 minutes before the post office closes on December 31st. And they have learned a lot about a senior named Everybody. For example, everybody cuts classes during the senior year. Everybody goes to and gives unsupervised parties. And everybody else has parents less overprotective than yours are. That is some of what your parents have learned. Here is what they worry about. They worry that if you maintain your dorm room as you do your room at home, your roommate will have you brought up on charges. They worry that the study habits you will bring with you to college are those from the end of your senior year rather than the beginning. And your parents worry that they will miss you terribly, for despite the nagging and the quarrels and the assertions of independence, their homes and lives have been filled with the joy of your presence for 18 or so years. They worry about how it will feel there without you. Finally, parents worry about what values you will be taking away. You are children of opportunity. Your parents have provided for you the chance to do and say and experience things that many of them at your age didn't dream of. They worry that you might take that for granted, but they needn't worry, for you are also children of service. You volunteer more and think more about social issues than most of the previous generations of adolescents did. You are as well children of independence, of skilled decision-making, and most of all, you are children of your parents' love. It is a phrase that may be well worn, but there truly are two great gifts we give our children, roots and wings. You have your roots in a family, a school, and a community of which you can be proud. You get your wings today. Fly carefully, for above all else, you are precious to those assembled here today to honor you. Good luck and sincere congratulations.
After a short introduction, would you please stand and join the singing of America the Beautiful? For our closing benediction, PDS has invited the Reverend Lee Hastings Bristol III, class of 1978, head of Canterbury School in Greensboro, North Carolina, and, probably most importantly, uncle of senior Marley Sine, to give our benediction. Chip.
Class of 2002, you sound like quite a class. Yes, I did go here. No, I did not dress like this when I went here. I'm dressed this way probably because in my day I would have been good friends with the Mr. Sanderson of my time. The dry ice and the dancing on mountains, I commend you. I don't understand that merit scholarship stuff. But you have been a gift to this school, and for that we are most grateful. Let us pray. Almighty God, it is time to let the class of 2002 go, to let them begin new chapters in their lives, to sail on wider seas. But before we do so, we stop to give you thanks for all that they have meant to us, all they have given to us, and all that they have taught us. For their academic prowess, for their many achievements on and off the fields, the courts, and the ice, in the studios and on the stage, for their enormous creativity, their unconventional support and spirit, for their effort and their perseverance as they have sought to rise above or live through adversity, for their teaching others to dance, all in an effort to become the children who you created them to be. Be with them now as they set sail. Bless and guide them wherever they may be. Pick them up if they should fall. And may your peace, which passes all understanding, guide and govern them this day forevermore. Amen.
The reception for the graduates will take place on the Cole-Ross lawn immediately following the ceremony. I'd ask that parents stand, but please remain in their seat, in their area, until the graduates have proceeded out of the tent. Thank you for coming. This commencement is now concluded.
Thank you.